What's up, everybody? It's Brandon, Football Scout 365, and today I'm going to talk about Stetson Bennett, and that I've watched this guy play some really incredible football. There's moments where you're like, okay, he's average or whatnot, but there's some throws, especially in this semifinal playoff game against Ohio State, that I just couldn't even believe he was making. They were on the money, and especially that final drive of the game, he basically puts it to 5'11", 190 pounds. He might be 6 foot tall. I'll give him that. I'll try to give him that. Who cares, right? 5'11", 6 foot. He might not even be either one of those. He could be 5'10", 5'9" for all we know at this point. But he was. Let's just go back. All right. I want to take people back. For people who are not Georgia fans, I want you to better understand who this guy is. He was a 2-star recruit out of the state of Georgia. His offers consisted of the University of Columbia, Georgia Southern, Mercer, and Middle Tennessee State. Anytime you got an Ivy League school like Columbia in there, I'm not that familiar with Mercer, Middle Tennessee State, or Georgia Southern's academic standing. But when you have an official Ivy League school out there offering you a football scholarship, that's a big deal. That shows that you are not only just a football player, but you're a high IQ individual. And if you can translate that to the football field, which it appears that Stetson Bennett has over the past 2 years, just continuously keeps growing in his decision making, that's a big deal. But anyway, I went down the rabbit hole researching Stetson Bennett just a little bit deeper. There's some things I didn't realize about this guy. I found a great Bleacher Report article from 2016. Stetson Bennett was so determined to earn an Elite 11 invite, according to this article, that he and his family, they traveled 4,000 total miles around the country, spending thousands of dollars, trying to gain the recognition needed to get that coveted Elite 11 invite that top quarterback prospects across the country, they covet the most. And he did not attain that goal at the end of the day. But that determination would ultimately pay off, because if you're getting in front of different coaches out there, different scouts, especially, these high school scouts out there, the 24/7 sports people, so to speak, or the On3, there's some of these scouting websites that have these field scouts out in the field at these camps and such, they start to recognize you. Stetson Bennett, he would eventually pass on all those lower level offers after Georgia had offered him a preferred walk-on opportunity back in 2017. Bennett would go on to run the scout team offense for the Georgia Bulldogs. In fact, it was during the 2017 season that he would play the role of Baker Mayfield in the practices for the college football playoff matchup versus Oklahoma in that particular year. Come 2018, Bennett wanted to be considered somebody who could compete for the starting job. And at the time, Georgia had Jake Fromm and then Justin Fields as a true freshman. And, obviously, if you're Stetson Bennett running the scout team, it's going to be hard to pass either one of those two guys. You've got Jake Fromm, Little League World Series champion, and then you got 5-star recruit Justin Fields. You're not passing those two dudes. Stetson Bennett had to make a decision. Am I going to sit here, just be Mr. Preferred Walk-On running the scout team, acting like I'm Baker Mayfield, or am I going to move on and find somewhere where I can have an opportunity to show what I can do? So he does that. He ends up going to Jones Community College in Mississippi, where he would start in 2018. He would lead Jones to a 10-2 record that year. After that 2018 season at Jones Community College, Bennett would get a call from Georgia asking him to come back. So ironically, Kirby Smart's like, hey, we could use you, come on down. So Bennett would end up backing up Jake Fromm in 2019 after Justin Fields transferred to Ohio State. And then in 2020, he would have to compete with JT Daniels, the USC transfer. Juwan Mathis was named the starter for Georgia in 2020. And JT Daniels was actually the backup, with Stetson Bennett being third team. But then JT Daniels would succumb to injury. Juwan Mathis would flame out in the season opener of the 2020 season against Arkansas. And wouldn't you know it, there's Stetson Bennett. He comes in, Georgia's trailing in this game, and then boom, Georgia blows out Arkansas with Stetson Bennett at quarterback, and everything from there was academic. So Stetson Bennett's journey Nevertheless, from, a 2-star recruit, according to 24/7 Sports, a dude who's just wanted to seek out an opportunity at a higher level school, fought hard to get there. I mean, this is just a great story, great background for a guy who ultimately could win his second national championship in a row. And the chips are down for Georgia. This dude has stepped up. And against Ohio State, he went 23 of 34, 398 yards, averaged 11.7 yards per attempt, had 3 touchdowns, had the 1 interception. He had a near perfect NFL passer rating when kept clean in this game. Where Bennet impressed the most as a passer is between the numbers down the middle of the field. He was impressive fitting the ball into tight windows in this game. He was 18 of 21 at all levels down the middle of the field or between the numbers. 2 of 3 on throws of 20 plus yards between the numbers, and absolutely surgical, as I mentioned already, on that final drive, giving Georgia the lead. And ultimately, that would turn out to be the game-winning drive led by Stetson Bennett. Another notable stat, throws off of play action. Bennet went 5 of 8 for 147 of those 398 yards and a touchdown. He did have the 1 interception that came off of play action. But he did average 18.4 yards per attempt on throws using play action in this game. All of the scouting reports that you read out there, and then if you're watching film on this guy, his dependence on throws between the numbers, down the middle of the field to the bigger bodied tight ends are notable. This guy has definitely gotten better since he's become the starter at Georgia. And I know he's been there forever. This dude's like 35 years old, okay? I mean, who cares, right? But against Ohio State, when the opportunity presented itself for Stetson Bennett to make throws, not just between the numbers, but outside the numbers, and show that he can throw some anticipatory routes as well, especially on that final drive, the game-winning touchdown, the clock, of the situation in that key moment, a game to get to the national title. Can talk a lot better than he did in his post-game interviews, but you can win with this guy at the NFL level. He can make throws at the NFL level. Is he an NFL starter? No, I don't believe he is. I believe he's a backup level player. I think he could give you some Tyler Heineke type of value at the position where your starter goes down and you need a guy for 3 or 4 weeks, or God forbid you need a guy for an entire season to come in there and play that starter role until your actual starter comes back. He can give you some value in that regard. I think he has an opportunity to play at the NFL level as a backup for a while.